And we're live.
Boom shakalaka. He's heating up here, people. This is Beyond Retro
Oh
episode
my God, I wasn't
45.
expecting. I knew he was
Hell
wearing the
yeah.
jersey, but I didn't know he was gonna fucking pull out a basketball and just go right on into it. Holy shit.
Absolutely, man. You know, he's heating up. I got a Miami Heat basketball here. It makes
Oh,
perfect sense here, people.
oh.
So, yes, we're here to talk about classic 90s basketball here. No, yeah, Nathan Kennedy, Joe Motto here.
Oh
And,
yeah, by the way.
but this is a bit of a stretch, but it's still nostalgic. And, well, we're not going to just sit around and just talk about the teams of that day, but the pop culture phenomenon that NBA basketball had back in the 90s, you know, from the commercials to the media, from games and movies, and just how popular the NBA was in terms of like marketing its players. I mean, from music videos. I mean, it's all over the place here. And of course, we'll talk about the teams we enjoyed that day, because I think we can all agree that was arguably at least in our lifetime, that's probably been the greatest decade of basketball.
No, yeah, I mean, one could argue that the '80s would be pretty close to that, but in terms of
Mm-hmm.
just like larger than life, uh, I would almost say characters in a way because most of these popular players branched out. They had commercials, promoting McDonald's, Gatorade, Nike, and that still goes on to this day. But kind of, I would say at the time was just sort of uncharted territory. It was new and it was fresh, and they also ventured into video games, which I know that we are going to dabble in that a little bit too. And I know what the listeners are thinking. They're like, guys, 90s basketball, like what the hell? But I'm actually, surprisingly enough, I'm the one that chose the topic because I know that it's Joe's favorite sport, it's Tyler's favorite sport, and while it was never my favorite sport, I always preferred baseball overall. Like during the '90s when basketball season came around, I was definitely glued to the TV whenever I could catch it because those games came on TNT, especially the West Coast games, which I always liked. They would come on at like 10:30, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I got to stay up and watch the game, and it wouldn't. And then overtime would hit, game would end about 2:30. So that was always a lot of fun, and I hope we can kind of relay a lot of our own personal stories into this as kind of mostly the main reason that I picked the topic, because I thought it would lend itself to a funny discussion with us telling our stories. And basketball, in an indirect way, is kind of like the first conversation that Tyler and I really had in high school.
It was. It was the first conversation we
Which
had.
was
Yeah.
it, which ended up being a building block to us becoming friends. So lots of stories to tell, and yeah. Speaking of on fire, because I don't know if Tyler was going to bring this up, just real quick, I texted him because I actually went to the movies today. I went and I'm like, we're going. Emily, get in the car. We're going to the movies, and we went and saw the movie Eighth Grade, which was my choice because I'm sort of a sucker for those coming of age films. Movie started at 2:30, so we go and get our tickets about 10 after 2. We're sitting there, so we got about 15 minutes. No one else is coming in. I'm like, great, maybe we'll get the theater to ourselves. And Tyler knows this theater got a renovation, so they got these new nice recliners that you push a button and it will honestly just like almost lay you flat back. Real comfortable seats. The pricing didn't go up too much, and about 5 minutes before the trailers are supposed to start. Oh, and the main catalyst of the story is now when you go buy tickets, it's the assigned seating. It's like pick your seats, whatever. I'm like, okay. The guy's like, you're the only two guys that are here. So are these what you want? You want to send them back? I'm like, those are fine. Go and we sit down. This auditorium seats probably like a good 40, 50 people. And in walks this one lady, and I don't know if it's her daughter or like a friend, whatever. Come in, and I shit you not, any seat they could have picked. Which seat do you think they picked? The one right beside of me. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? She had like this big old thing of popcorn in a bag, and she had like all these snacks around her. And when I text you, Tyler, I actually walked out of the theater because the trailer's about to start. I walked out of the theater and I like text you, and I'm like, all right, I kind of have to cool off.
Yeah,
And then
because when you text me like, Nathan, you're in a theater and you're texting, like you're breaking the cardinal rule, man. We
yeah,
don't
no,
do that.
I exited the theater and just sort of stood there, and just like steaming, pissed off. I was like, man, you could have just sat anywhere. You could have picked anywhere, and you had to fucking sit beside of me. So I go back in, and I sit on the other side of Emily. So now there's a gap in between us, and just the movie's going, and she's just rustling with the bag. I'm like, you open your popcorn bag and you just put your hand in there. Why are you still like struggling with this? It almost like she was putting her hand in there, just going like this the entire time. And then when she was talking to her friend, it only happened a couple times, but it was just like loud, like she's just having a normal conversation like we're having right now. And I'm like, are you, what? So I'm almost back at that point. I'm like, you know what? Fuck movie theaters. I'm done. Those seats were comfy, so I might go back. But the last movie I went to actually go see in theaters was It. That's the last time I went to the movies, was to go see It, and that was almost a year ago. And before that, it was John Wick Chapter 2, which was like 6 months before that. So anyway, I've been rambling, and Tyler did the intro. Joe, how you doing,
Hasn't even
man?
said a word.
No, I was waiting. I didn't want to interrupt. I was just hearing what was going on. I do the same thing at the movies. If I ever had somebody sit right next to me like that, it drives me insane. I actually will have to move. I figure they should be moving, but I'm just like you. It's like I might be the only person in the theater, or just me and somebody else. And then there comes
she looked at me like kind of offended, like that I moved, and I'm like,
well, she should have common sense. It's like, it's the same thing. You go into a parking lot and there's tons of spaces. You pick that one, like, all right, nobody should be next to me. There's 1,000 parking spaces. I don't have to worry about my car getting banged. And then you come out, and sure enough, 3 people parked right next to you, one on this side, one on that side, and that. It's like, do you guys feel like you have to fucking like fill in a spot? Go the hell over there. Go over there. So yeah, when I'm in the theater, and if somebody actually does sit next to me or in close, I just get them fucking move all the way back. It's like,
I mean, especially if there's empty seats, like,
yeah,
go sit somewhere else.
Yeah, that's annoying. No, that is annoying. But as for the topic for today, with being 90s basketball, I mean, that was it when I was in school. I mean, definitely when it was about the Chicago Bulls. I mean, you talk about like the peak and the height and the most popularity, obviously, was that time from 1991 to 2 to 3, and then 5 to 6, and 6 to 7, and 7 to 8, in the 90s. Man, that was it. It was so hyped. I'm sitting there memorizing every damn stat of, like, okay, how many points did Jordan get per game? And is he going to have the most points this season? And averaging everything before they even put it in the newspapers. Because, of course, back then they didn't have the internet. So you're just sitting there, you're doing your own average in the scores, memorizing every stat of every player. It was just the height. Like you said, it was the height of basketball and popularity, not only because, like you said, the sponsors and, doing commercials, but even people eventually appearing in movies from, you had Michael Jordan eventually going in Space Jam. You had Rodman doing stuff with Van Damme or his
Double
movies.
T, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you had, it was super hot. And the thing about it is, don't get me wrong, I see like kids nowadays, and even young ones, it's like they're 10 years old and they're wearing a Jordan logo and Jordan shoes, and it's like, okay, I can understand you rocking that and understanding the popularity, because of course you still buy your Jordans, but it's like, you'll never understand the experience about what it was like, though. You can go back and watch these old games, but you already know who won. It's not like you're wondering, like when you're watching the games, you're like, oh my God, can they pull it off? And then when your team wins and they pull off, you're screaming, yes. When they're down by 3 points and there's a minute left and you're so damn nervous. And like me, I would lose my shit. If the Bulls were down by 3 and there was a minute left, I was like, oh God, I don't know if they're going to win. I would actually go out of the house and I'm sitting there just waiting for like a minute, like, please let me go back in, please let me go back in, and then have the lead again and one. And I go
You
back
wouldn't watch the game, you'd step outside?
No, when I would get real antsy because my emotions, you think you get hot, Tyler. You already know I'm a bottle of energy already.
Yeah, but how
would lose.
You can't
like
just,
I said,
oh my God.
Watching the game, I'm sitting there screaming. I never would scream at any events like I would for basketball. I mean, cussing so much to where my mom and dad would say, calm down, Joe, relax, because I would like lose my shit. So sometimes when I was too anxious and it was that close, I would just go out for like 50 seconds, a minute, and then come back in and pray. And then I'd say, oh God, okay, we think I have the lead back. And I would record it anyways, because I was like, okay, well, now that they won, I can go back and watch that minute. But damn it, if they ever lost, I was like, I'm not watching that tape. I mean, I this stuff so seriously you couldn't even imagine how nuts I would get. And then when there was the years where Jordan was gone to go try his damn shot at that baseball, it's like, oh, I hate baseball. Sorry about that, Nathan. I know you
I
like it.
don't care.
I was like, I hate baseball.
Most honestly, so many people hate baseball. Like I get the hate for it,
I was like, I hate it. I was like, no, Jordan, you're not going to make me like it, even if you're good at it, which he wasn't. And so for that 93, 4 and the 4 and the 5, when he wasn't there, I was just like, damn, I was pissed. And then he comes back. And then when he comes back, oh my God, then we get Rodman. We get this polarizing character. This one that's doing the rebounds. You don't know when he's going to lose it. You know, Jordan's trying to calm him down at times, but it just worked. It just worked so damn good. And I remember the games when, like, you know, Rodman was always known, you know, he's in paint, he's getting the rebounds, he's muscling all the time, he's a monster. But the times he would be maybe run back down the court, they're getting to the other side, and the ball gets passed to him, and he was behind that 3-point line. And I remember I'm screaming, and you hear the crowd saying, 3, 3, because you've never really seen him want to shoot no more. And if he doing it, wait a minute, just people lost their shit. That's what I mean. This is the stuff that you can't just jump into watching a tape. You had to live those moments like we all did. You had to live that in the 90s and feel it. So you can appreciate, oh yeah, the Bulls, they were a great team back in the 90s. I wasn't born at that time, but I watched some tapes. It's like, yeah, that's great. You watched some tapes, but you didn't feel it when it was pop culture. When that's what everybody was talking, whether it was from school and when you got out of school and to work and just going anywhere. It was just you're living the moments. And I would never give that back for anything, living the moments of the 90s, and especially with the Bulls, because like I said, all the championships they won, having at that time one of the best, you know, win-loss records of 72-10, of course, until, you know, years later when Golden State Warriors had 73.
They suck. They don't count.
Yeah. No, I know that's what I like to say, but I know when I always say the Bulls had the best, you know, win-loss record.
Won the title that year.
I mean, you got to think too, like to have that record against the teams that were in the league at that time, because basically the main thing now is a total difference between basketball in the 80s through the 90s and basketball today. Like if you go and watch the Bad Boys, the Pistons, in the late 80s, those guys were rough. Like that stuff would just never fly today. And like it kind of goes that way through all sports now. Like, you know, maybe, and it could just be where we were younger and looking at it through a different lens, but I genuinely feel like when these guys were playing the game back then, yeah, they were making money, but they all wanted to win. Nowadays, guys are just like, man, okay, you know. Some of them, like the passion just isn't there.
No,
and most of the guys now.
You're right. The passion is gone. First, let me say hello to JSP in the chat room, but also JSP, you're cold. He said this. First, he said, hey, you know, he's like, who's your greatest center of all time? But then after that, he said, sorry, Joe, but the 93, 94, 94, 95 were the two best seasons for me.
He must be a Houston Rockets fan.
Yeah, I was going to say he's an Olajuwon fan for sure.
JSP, I love you, but screw you, man. But no, you're right. That passion back then, it's unmatched. Like, I'm not saying, of course, anybody, sure, people, yes, they love having the money, but it seems like things have changed, and it's more about, in a way, kind of ego. It's like, okay, see, like, since you're hearing me talk.
No, sorry, JSP has confirmed that he was a Houston Rockets fan.
There you go. All right. So anyways, let me get back to, obviously, you know, like I said, a huge Bulls fan, but it's like, all right, this still can be said for nowadays, even today, but like there's sometimes somebody would commit a foul. And, you know, it's an obvious foul. And when this person would do it, you'd see that person say, oh, come on, ref. And they're screaming and they're debating back and forth. And then it came to somebody like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan just had himself in a class that it was absolutely unmatched. And even the way he carried himself and how he was on the court, meaning I never seen him bitch about a call and whine if he did it. Now, if he did it, he would man up. And if there was a bullshit call, and he said it, you knew, okay, something ain't right. And sure shit, when they showed the replay, it's like, wow, Jordan was right. But it's like so many people would just bitch and whine to do it. It's like, can you just man up to you screwed up, you did the foul, you did this? And that's still even as of today.
Well, I mean, hang on. Why would you do that, though? If you knew, like, if you were purposely committing the foul and then you're trying to pretend to get away with it, you know, like, why would you be like, all right, yeah, oh, I'm sorry, no, like, you're not doing that. You're like, what? This is bullshit. I didn't do that.
That's the sign of a chicken shit heel. You know, that's you know, you're caught on camera doing it. Plus, when you've got a live, you know, televised audience and a stadium full of rabid fans, you want to act like the alpha male. Like, you know, even though you knocked, you know, Kevin McHale on his ass going into the paint, Bill Lambier is going to, argue because,
Man,
we're the bad boys.
Man, Bill Lambier, what a piece of work. But, like he also didn't give a shit either. Like he was like, yeah, I'll do it again. I don't care. I miss that about basketball. I really miss that about it. They were just so rough with each other. Like you see Rodman, you like Charles Barkley, the Knicks especially. Holy shit! Like
the Heat.
Anytime that the Bulls played the Knicks, I was just like glued to the TV because you knew that like Patrick, especially John Starks, that little asshole, was always gonna just like try something. And you're just waiting for it. Joe, I was kind of like you the same way. Like I like the Bulls a lot. I had my 3 teams that I really enjoyed and liked a lot were the Bulls, the Hornets, and the Magic. Because I always kept up with college basketball too, so that was always fun. It's like, oh yeah, Shaq's coming up from LSU. He went to Orlando, and there's so many things that come to mind, like the one draft class where what was it? Penny got drafted Penny got drafted by the Warriors, and Chris Webber got drafted by the Magic, and they like traded. And at the time, I was just like, oh my god, like I can't believe that they did that. And man, it was just so much better back then. And the other thing I wanted to bring up too is, like, yeah, guys got traded, but for the most part, dudes were loyal to their teams. They stayed with their teams for most of their career. Nowadays, guys are just like, all right, where can I like join these guys and just fast track myself to a championship? LeBron James.
Yeah. And with the money they pay.
Oh, well, granted, I mean, there is quite a list of stars in the 90s that did swap teams, whether they were traded or they signed as free agents. I mean, there was quite a few that did not live out. I mean, there was a big class, and all of those guys talk about, that they slammed the current status quo of basketball because of guys switching teams a lot. But, even though if these guys obviously weren't happy where they were at, or obviously they weren't making it work, they would get traded. Like Barkley didn't stay with the Sixers. He went to the Suns, and he didn't stay with the Suns. He went to the Rockets. Pippen didn't stay with the Bulls. After Jordan left, he went to the Rockets. He went to the Blazers, then back to the Bulls. Zoe didn't stay with the Hornets. He got traded to the Heat and went to the Nets, and then refused to play for the Raptors.
Yeah,
Chris Webber played for the Bullets, then went to the Kings. So I'm not.
I mean, it did happen, but it's not like.
Well, and let's say some of the early. Like one thing that we're all of us are big fans of is that we can name the 90s Heat, the 90s Pacers, the 90s Bulls, the 90s Knicks, and then the Lakers when Shaq and Kobe teamed up, the Pistons. It all comes down to if the Malice in the Palace hadn't happened, I think guys would be more inclined to, because you can't defend yourself or you can't get up and defend your teammates for fear of major suspensions, humongous fines, all just for stepping up off the bench when a tussle breaks out. I mean, if you go and watch, and I've done it quite a few times, you go and watch any of the fights. I mean, there's a classic one of Zoe and Larry Johnson getting into it when Zoe was with the Heat and Larry was with the Knicks. And they get into this massive fight where Jeff Van Gundy gets in the middle of both of them, and he gets crushed amongst all of it. And, I mean, no one's letting up. And it's just one of many fights. And just knowing the ramifications of those kind of fights were nowhere near what they are today. And it does suck because those guys would beat the hell out of each other because, because I always think of those teams as just being some of the toughest men on the planet and then going all the way back even into the 80s and even the 70s and stuff like that. I blame a lot of it due to the Malice in the Palace, which still it's a fascinating event. I remember watching the highlights the morning after because me and my brother were in Roanoke when it happened. And then watching it constantly on ESPN and the news the next day over and over again. And, I mean, if that hadn't happened, we probably would be seeing a few more tussles on the court. Probably not to the same extent, but where guys would not be afraid of, these guys taking a cheap shot with me. I'm going to knock him on his ass. I'll get a small fine, and I'll go keep going along my way there. But, I just blame that's if that hadn't happened, I mean, like Rodman kicking the cameraman in the balls.
Yeah, I remember
You know,
that.
that was a big deal when that happened. If that happened today,
He'd probably just be kicked out of the league.
Yeah, I mean it's and I blame
No,
that. I think it all goes back to the Malice in the Palace.
I mean, like it all right, it's all for the best. You know, if we were to look at football and the concussions, like, yeah, they're taking that more seriously. Like that, it's good that they've cracked down on that. And yeah, JSP's just kind of like hitting us with some knowledge on some stuff. Like, to me, I think going back to the guys changing teams and stuff a lot, I really think that it really started kind of in that end period of the 90s, like, because I don't even really know where I'm going with that.
Well, but I think the microscope got focused on LeBron.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Well, I'm just saying. I think what everyone wants to focus on is they want to blame LeBron going to Miami for it, even though.
Oh no! I know it's been going on long before that. Now, you know, he took it to the next level, having his own TV special saying, "Hey, this is where I'm going."
And I will say this: no matter what had happened, the whole world was going to stop and watch where LeBron was going, even if it wasn't televised for charity. ESPN. Fox Sports Network, everybody was going to make a big deal out of that. Even if he was going to Chicago, going to the Knicks, the Nets, whoever, there was no way that the biggest player in the NBA going to someplace else was not going to be a big thing. And I hate that everyone attacked him for, like, I'm sorry, he gave it all to charity. It was going to be a big hoopla no matter what you did.
He probably gave it to charity after the fact that everyone was like, yeah, that's like. Well, by the way, we need to specify right now that Tyler not only still watches basketball to this day, but he's like a huge LeBron James sympathizer and is stuck with him, even though he's going to the fucking Lakers.
I ain't happy about that because I can't watch the games when they come on the West Coast.
You're just gonna have to stay up later, man.
I can't do that, man.
Yeah, man. You just set an alarm for like 9:30. You get about a 2-hour nap, and then you get up and you watch the games. I want to answer JSP's question because he was like greatest center ever. Honestly, Olajuwon is pretty damn good. So I honestly, he would probably be my pick because I watched him a lot in those games. I saw their run when they won the back-to-back titles, and man, he was just. It almost seemed like he never missed a shot half the time,
and like always so calm and collected. Like the guy was never. You know, like Shaq talks about when they played him in the finals, like he couldn't budge Olajuwon, or if he did, Olajuwon was just like, nice elbow, big fella. Like you could not rise Olajuwon.
Now, don't get me wrong. Like I hated the Rockets at the time because I would really like the Magic and I really wanted them to win because I loved that dynamic of Penny and Shaq and Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott. Was Scott Skiles even playing for him at the time?
No, he'd been traded by that point.
Yeah, good, because he sucked anyway. But, man, yeah, there's no denying the talent that he had. And, yeah, he's the main reason why they got swept that year, because he just dominated. Shaq didn't even know what to do. Plus, a lot of people would throw Shaq's name in the conversation. While I agree he was a powerhouse, like, he just didn't. All he could do was just be right there at the basket.
He couldn't shoot to save his life. The first
learned exactly.
Basketball how to shoot a ball, and he can't. He just muscled his ass to the fucking
But that's a testament to him, though, is that he was such a powerhouse, though.
Yeah, but
he can't shoot. I couldn't stand watching him.
It worked for a while, and then Hack-a-Shaq became a thing, and it's like, well, he can't shoot free throws. Let's just keep fouling him.
And you kill him, and there goes his game. I'm like I said, I transitioned from the 80s going into the 90s because you talk about the other, big teams when you think of the Celtics and the Lakers. And when you think about even players like that, when you think about Magic Johnson, of course, like you said, players nowadays, and even back then, yes, they go from one team to another. But I know Magic, I thought, stayed true to the Lakers. Larry Bird was staying with Boston. And of course, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar started with Milwaukee, went to the Lakers, but pretty much stayed there. But there was something about the players even for then. You like the rivalries, you like the build up. It kind of seeped into the 90s, and it went from late 80s into 90s. And then for me, I loved Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Even when I was a young kid, I'm not no center, but I loved just taking that basketball and I do that acting like I bounce, have he go back and do that sky hook. He had a way that when he did his hook shot, it was different. That's why they called it the sky hook.
The hook shot was always cool. I did the same thing. I was like,
well,
I gotta try it.
But remember, his was different. He had a certain way. I used to imitate and emulate that, but his was the sky hook, and it was special. And it was just, yeah, he was my favorite center of all time. Even going into the '90s with all other people, I still like. If I want to pick anybody I love the most in the entire history of basketball, I just love Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Loved how he would play. I just love that damn sky hook. But damn, yeah, I miss it, man. I miss the how '80s and into the '90s and how basketball was.
Man, just the physicality, just how much they cared, the passion that they showed, how much they wanted to win. I feel like that's what's missing in sports today. Because I mean, why should they? I mean, regardless, they're getting paid shitloads of money, and at the time, those guys were too. But there was something about them that they had to win. They had to.
I almost say the part of that's probably is the mentality as the generations are coming up from the whole millennial mentality. I hate that players are on social media. I think that's a very, pussified behavior. I don't like knowing that ESPN or any other sports network or show is making news of what Joel Embiid tweets or what LeBron James puts on Twitter. Or I'm like, it has nothing to do with the game. It's just something to talk about because now you've got to have coverage 24/7. So you talk about who's tweeting and who's Instagramming this and like Snapchatting that. I'm like,
it's just a sign of times,
I can't
man.
imagine Alonzo Mourning, Larry Johnson, Scottie Pippen, David Robinson, Reggie Miller, Charles Oakley.
Oh man, dude, do not speak of Charles Oakley. That's another guy I fucking hated a lot too. Sorry, I'm just throwing a lot of F words in this one, but man, there are so many of those guys that just like pissed me off.
But that's a testament to just how that tough mentality was, though. And I say, I mean, even to the 2000s, I'd say probably mid 2000s. I mean, it could be argued any decade, depending on what you consider a more softer mentality. I'm not saying that a lot of players today are all soft, because clearly there are some guys that do cheap stuff, and unfortunately you can't Lance Stevenson, getting away with cheap stuff.
I don't even know.
He'd be knocked up. He's a player.
I know he's a player. I'm just saying.
Well, but anyway, I'm just saying, like when players would do cheap stuff back in the 90s and the 80s, I mean, it was just a matter of time before somebody's getting clotheslined. And it was just. But I also blame that on the fact that they're enforced. They don't want players beating up the fans or players really hurting each other.
Well, you don't want another Ron Artest situation where he hops up in the stands and starts beating somebody up.
Or when he elbows James Harden in the back of the head, which happened like back in, I think, 2012, I think.
Wait. Ron Artest is still playing? Or was at that time?
At that time, yeah. He was playing for the Lakers, and they were playing the Thunder, and he elbows James Harden in the back of the head.
I didn't think that he would stick around that long, honestly.
He kept coming in and out, back and forth. But anyway, but I will say this, too, about the 90s itself had unbelievable star power.
Yeah.
That, everybody made each other better. You're right. They did. And it seemed like everybody, whether it was some of the people that were the rough players or great players, it seemed like it made everybody else want to play that much better. Every player was trying to top the other player from the team that they were going against. It seemed like, it was the height. Like you said, when it was towards the late 80s into the 90s, that was probably some of the highest ratings that you had in NBA history. And then it seems like, I'm not saying because of the dissolving of the Bulls and everybody when they left, but it just seemed like a lot of players, when they left towards kind of the end of the 90s, ratings seemed to drop. And it just seemed like there was this interest that just started going, like even towards, like you said, towards the beginnings of the 2000s to maybe 3, 4, 5.
Well,
I mean, some of the lowest ratings. It just,
see, I don't know, but because around that time, after Jordan retires, you got the rise of the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq. Vince Carter comes in. The new Spurs come along with Tim Duncan, joins the Spurs with David Robinson. They win titles. You've got Tracy McGrady, Kevin Garnett still going strong. But then I was trying to think of a few others. Like Reggie Miller is still playing.
Yeah, it just seemed like there was a lot of people.
I think when the class that LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, when they came in, I think that was the last big star power class. Because if you look back, aside from I think like the 2000 draft, most drafts into the 90s, whoever came out of like the first like 5 draft picks, they all came out and made an impression their rookie year. Nowadays, rookies don't come out. I'm like, did anybody make an impression? Like it almost feel like you didn't have to dig to see who was doing good their rookie year because they were making such an impression. Penny and Chris Webber did. Shaq, Larry Johnson, Zoe. You look at Grant Hill, Jason Kidd, Kevin Garnett coming out of high school. Allen Iverson comes out his rookie year, crosses over Michael Jordan his rookie year, wins rookie of the year. Tim Duncan comes out, makes the All-Star game, first rookie to make the All-Star game. Guys are coming out of high school and college immediately, the rookie, and making impressions. They're leaving a mark. It's not taking them a couple of years to develop.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. All of it was a perfect storm of just there's already star power here, but these guys coming in around that time are still coming in and killing it. Like Jason Kidd came in and did really well. I'm trying to think of the name, but let's see. Isaiah Ryder. Am I getting that right? I feel like he won the dunk contest that one year, and that was always a highlight for me. I don't know about you guys, but the All-Star game was always
God Almighty.
Now, a lot of people are like the dunk contest. Honestly, for me, 3-point contest. I always favored. I like that. Yeah. I always favored those guys that could shoot from distance because that's when I played basketball. In like the rec leagues and everything, that's what I always like to do. I always like to see how far I can make a shot. And, I just loved shooting from three. Like when we were playing the 2-3 years I played rec league, it was always like the point guard would dribble up and he was like looking around, and we had like a big, huge ass guy on our team that played center. But anytime they passed me the ball, I was always like right there at the 3-point line. So I'd always take a shot, and sometimes I made them. Most of the times I didn't because I wasn't like that great.
Proficient.
Yeah, but the 3-point contest was always a highlight for me. And I always liked those guys, like Dennis Scott, Reggie Miller. I know a lot of people just disliked him, but I just
because he was a dagger. The guy was a walking dagger.
He was, but another guy like Olajuwon, it just felt like anytime he got the ball and he was behind the 3-point line, there's no way he could miss. It just seemed like he hit every shot that he took. And I'm trying to think of some other 3-point guys, but the names are escaping me at the moment.
Well, let me ask you guys this about just how popular, because I know like stars today will do commercials, but they're not as memorable, or they don't have as impact.
Yeah.
And you look at, the Larry Bird, Michael Jordan McDonald's commercial, Penny Hardaway and Little Penny.
I had to somewhere in my parents' attic. There is a Little Penny.
I got a Little Penny
figure.
Too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Absolutely. I loved it too. I love the commercials where he's talking to Little Penny, the ones where Tyra Banks shows up, because I think Penny was dating Tyra at the time. Or Michael Jordan in the Michael Jackson Jam music video. God, I love that song.
Yeah.
It's still a badass
in perfect
song.
sync. You and I are just like, I love that fucking song. Yeah.
God. There's a YouTube video that someone put together where I think it's like Kobe does an introduction of of about, I forgot what it was, but then they sync it up to Michael Jackson's, Jam, and it's nothing but footage of classic 90s and early 2000s dunks.
Man. Yeah.
From Zoe, Jordan, Allen Iverson, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady,
Dominique
rookie year.
In there.
I think so. Yeah, I think Dominique, Sean Kemp, Kemp, the Rain Man is in there. But when you got that, and then you've got Larry Johnson and Grandmama showing up on Family Matters and doing commercials.
Yes.
How popular was that gimmick? I know Joe's familiar with that particular gimmick from back in the day.
Tyler, do you remember at the local fair they had one of those things where you could shoot the basketball, and one of the prizes was like the little picture?
Yes.
They had one of Grandmama, and I made the shot. So at one point, I had Grandmama hanging on the wall.
Oh, badass, man! Jeez, they had Charles Barkley taking on Godzilla in a campaign that was on T-shirts and comic books and stuff. I mean, can you imagine anybody currently playing today? Of course, unless you don't watch it, you wouldn't know. But to have a player in a campaign that's fighting Godzilla, or starring, in a music video with the greatest music performer of all time, Michael Jackson. Michael versus Michael. You've got. I
mean, now it would just be like LeBron hanging out with, I don't know, Justin Bieber or something, and it just would not have the same effect.
It doesn't have that magnitude because, musicians today are a dime a dozen. They come and go. They're trendy. They don't have that lasting impact that musicians of the early 90s and definitely the 80s, like Prince and Michael Jackson, where they become larger than life. They transcend what's popular because they are setting the bar all the time. And just like Michael Jordan was setting the bar on the court, Michael Jackson setting the bar in music, and still to this day is the best musician of all time. But you look at all that kind of star power. I mean, hell, the Larry Bird and Michael Jordan McDonald's commercial, off Grimace's had nothing but net. I mean, LeBron and Dwight Howard, redid that commercial a few years ago.
And it wasn't as good.
Not as magical. No, of course not. But just everybody remembers that commercial of Michael and Larry playing for a McDonald's meal. And it was a great ad campaign. Just, I mean, we all remember it, and hell, the Dream Team, the first Dream Team. Or in my eyes, the only Dream Team.
Yeah, that was amazing because McDonald's had the tie-in where they had the cups. Didn't they also have the cards too?
I don't know about cards, but I have the cups.
I remember the cards, but I don't remember if McDonald's released the cards, though.
Yeah. Well, I definitely had the cups because I was like, I gotta. There were so many man, that was just such a stacked team.
There was I can't think. I mean, even Dream Team 2 that came out in 95, 96. That was a hell of a Dream Team too. Of course, Jordan wasn't on that one, but you had Pippen, Penny, Shaq, Reggie, Olajuwon, Drexler, John Stockton, Karl Malone, David Robinson, Grant Hill. Hell of a stacked team. But that first Olympic team that came in and crushed everybody. I mean, it's going to go down as the most celebrated basketball team that's ever been created.
But now it's different too because these players from this era transcended just because. Like it was a global thing, and you see that now from all of these players from the different countries. Which, when Team USA goes out there, they can still win the gold, but there are a few teams out there now, like when Dirk goes back and they go back to their respective countries, that actually put up a fight now. And I would like to think that most of those guys that are in the league now that are from the other countries were probably mainly inspired by this era of basketball.
I mean, I think it's not just a thing of nostalgia. I think really, I mean, you got your casual fans of today who love watching LeBron or the Warriors or the Raptors or the Rockets, or kind of whatever. But real students of the game who grew up watching basketball now and go back and see. I mean, I think any true student of the game and appreciates the history, I mean, they'll appreciate Dr. J in the 70s and the early 80s, Wilt Chamberlain's run, the 80s and the 80s Lakers and Celtics, the bad boy Pistons, of course the 90s Bulls, but that Dream Team. They just see the caliber of the players on that team. I mean, I was unfortunate, did not get to watch any of Magic Johnson's games as child. I didn't get to watch any of Dr. J or any of the 80s Celtics. But I'm aware of just how great those teams were because I'm a student of basketball. I love basketball.
Well, all right, let's put a timeline here. Joe said that he started in the late 80s and continued through Jordan's run into the 90s with a break in between when he decided that he was going to try to be a baseball player, which ultimately didn't work for him.
Boo.
I started watching about 1990. That's when I really got heavy into it and, sort of kind of hit Jordan's run. But it was also, for me, the Hornets with Muggsy Bogues and Larry Johnson.
Oh, they were a popular team back then. God almighty.
Yeah, no, and but Tyler, your introduction to basketball is slightly different because you got into it a little bit later than Joe and I did, right?
In terms of watching it hardcore, yes, but I was a fan of basketball.
I mean, you were aware of it, but you didn't really start to get into it until later on in the 90s.
Yeah, because I was playing NBA Jam when that game came out, so I was playing that and knew of the Bulls and a few of the teams, but would play that. I remember I got my first basketball cards because I wanted a Michael Jordan or a Shaq, and I got two Jordans in those two packs of cards I got, and I held on to them till 97. When I befriended a bunch of guys in middle school who were really into basketball and trading the cards. So because I thought what they were doing was cool, I brought my Jordans, and next thing I know, I become.
I bet you wish you still had those, don't you?
Well, those two particular Jordans weren't worth as much. But it was a gateway of this is actually really, really cool. And as part of like the circle. There was a massive group of guys that were trading cards in middle school. So everyone had like their guy they collected. You couldn't double up because it was just like bad for business amongst us kids. So I knew of Penny. I thought Penny was cool, and no one else was collecting Penny. So naturally, Penny was the guy that I got started with in 1997, in the winter of 1997. I started buying cards religiously. The first jersey I ever got was
it's the one that he's wearing right now.
Not this one here.
How did you squeeze into that, sir?
Well, believe me, my chest is kind of really feeling really tight in this particular jersey right now. It's going to be hard getting it off. I'll just put it that way. But it stuck with that, and I got into Allen Iverson and Kobe Bryant. I still got a bunch of Jordans because I did collect Jordan, but there was a guy in school that collected Jordan. So you either traded him the Jordans or you used Jordans back then as like, okay, someone's got a penny you really want. I've got a Jordan's worth $40. So you would kind of use that to kind of sweeten the deal and stuff like Jordans were always like gold, instant gold. It was like cash. If you had a Michael Jordan, you could make a deal happen in school. Granted,
Joe,
now I've got a.
I was gonna say, Joe, you and I are probably similar in regards. Just listening to Tyler talk about, I was trading all this shit away. For me, I was always like, no, this is my card. I'm keeping it. No one else is ever getting this.
Because I'm collecting Penny Hardaway, I'm collecting Allen Iverson, I'm collecting Tim Duncan.
That's why you just keep
Kobe
buying
Bryant.
more packs and hoping that you get them.
Well, because you're giving a lot of players, someone else collects Charles Barkley, someone else collects Shaq, someone else collects Zoe. You feel like, okay, I don't need this Shaq. I don't collect Shaq. I can trade it to Randall, and hopefully I can get a Penny or an Allen Iverson from him. I mean, that's the circle.
That's not good enough. Well, here, how about this Ronnie Cycli to sweeten the pot?
Well, no one was doing that, but for the most part, you just traded. It was fun business. It was fun to get in trouble because we're in the middle of, math class, and we're trying to make a quick deal. Hey, look, I got an Allen Iverson from James.
Yeah, teacher's just like, hey, pay attention.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have fun. You're not here for fun.
Joe, did you collect cards? I
just collected anything as for shirts, hats, little memorabilia. Some cards, yeah, I would get some. It was just basically Chicago Bulls stuff, but I never traded anything. I guess because I don't know. I didn't have anything to trade for. What I got. I was happy. That was it. It's like this right here. This is something I've kept and I wore it one time in my life, but that's got to be my favorite shirt of all. Yeah, I just love this damn shirt of all of them. And then on the back, like I said, I just wore this just one time way back in the day, but I've just kept it ever since. Just love this damn shirt. It almost looks painted. So yeah, that's something I kept. But to talk about when you were talking about NBA Jam twice, that's the unfortunate stuff I had to put up with when I worked at Software Etc. back then.
Unfortunate.
Because I'm getting to something.
Okay.
Is when I worked at Software Etc. and NBA Jam came out for Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and as obsessed as I was with games, I know why people aren't in stuff. Remember, Michael Jordan was not in that game for the home versions. Same thing.
Pissed me off as a kid.
Same thing with Shaquille O'Neal. But I would constantly get all these people that would come in, and we'd have the kiosk to where you could play it on Genesis or Super Nintendo. And the one kid come in and was like, well, I know that code to get Michael Jordan. And he would talk with his friend or something. And I would walk up there. I was like, I'd have to do, I was like, there is no code for Michael Jordan. He was like, no. He says, there is. I was like, put it in. He was like, okay. And then he would put in, I think he said, CHI would give him the magic code or something for Michael Jordan. It didn't work. And he would try all these combinations. I was like, you never did this. And he's like, I did it at home, I swear. I was like, I'll tell you why it didn't happen. I said, Electronic Arts has the rights for Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City.
Yeah.
And Shaq is for Shaq Fu. I said, they can't appear in this for a claim. I said, it's not going to happen. He's like, well, I swear it did. So I had to put up with that probably for a damn 3 months. I was like, can we just, I don't know. I was like, can we get this fucking NBA Jam? I remember I'd always tell the boss, I was like, can we please get NBA Jam? No, that's the one we're still promoting. We have to keep it. I was like, I can't wait till this game's out of the store.
Can we just put Aladdin or the Lion King in the machine or something? Come on.
Right, put anything. But yeah, that's what I say, because I loved NBA Jam just like you guys. Damn, was that the funnest game. But to hear those stupid people say, I know how to get Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal, it's like, no, you don't. It didn't happen. Might have been in the arcade before home, but yeah, there you go.
I mean, that was the only disappointing thing about NBA Jam, but I played the hell out of the game. I just, when the first time you caught on fire, he's heating up. The net was on fire. And then when you break the glass,
Oh,
you're like, son of a bitch, you know. God, it was just, you know, when me and my brother did it for the first time, we were just blown away. We just could not believe we broke the glass. Boom, shakalaka laka.
I used to have a 49ers helmet notepad that I would, when I was playing the Super Nintendo version, I would start to get good enough at it that I was beating teams like 123-12. And
I can believe it.
And
I know what you're gonna say. Good.
Yeah, I'd write the scores down, like, this is how many points that per quarter, everything. And I it's got to be somewhere in some box, probably at my parents' house. If I ever dig that up, it's automatically going to bring a smile to my face.
There was a sweet spot too. Remember, towards the center, there was a certain sweet spot to where if somebody shot, you could always jump up and get their 3-pointer, and it wasn't goaltending. Yep. And you could also, even if you timed it, get their ball for that dunk. And yeah, I mean, I would destroy some people where they hated it. It was just that sweet spot. So yeah, once I would just run down and do a quick dunk, because some people might have learned the pattern of when I'd go for a 3 and catch it, but. Oh damn! What a day! What an age! What an era!
What was your all's favorite dunk in NBA Jam? I always liked the spinning Jordan dunk. Where they had the legs. Where you had your arm out and you would spin around and then slam it.
Yeah, I honestly kind of like the one where you would just like go really high up and just spin, spin,
and then come down. God, yeah, because if you did the flip and you broke the glass at the same time and you were on fire. Jesus Christ, man!
That was
like the god, man.
That was the funnest one because it did look the cool. So he'd start and he'd go boom, 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 and then he would dunk and then shatter everything. But I also did like the one where he'd spin. He was way up in the air because I would act like he's Tarzan and smash it. Yeah.
The main.
Wait. I'm sorry. Can I do one more? The one I really like, because I named it, you know, me and my cousin would play so much, was one, it would be kind of coming from the bottom and going up and you dunk, and I called it the kiss that don't miss. He'd take it and go, you know, like kiss the ball and then boom and then slam it. Yeah. I call it the kiss that don't miss. I love that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I bet I could block that one probably.
You wouldn't block shit if I played.
I always like shooting threes in the corner. Like I almost felt like if I get to the corner with an open three, it was going to go in. And it just you hit like 3 or 4 in a row. He's hitting up, and you just want to keep sinking more and more shots because it wasn't.
That was the best thing to do when you were on fires. Just keep shooting threes. Keep shooting threes and destroying them. But honestly, my first memory with NBA Jam on Super Nintendo was the year that I dislocated my elbow, and I actually got NBA Jam for my birthday. I got that in addition to a baseball glove, which I couldn't use because I dislocated my elbow. So the quick story behind this, I went to my friend Patrick Redding's house. He gave me his bike. We go, basically his house was sort of like in this open land. So we went down the road, and then there's this other road that had just like a big, I'll do it so they can kind of visualize it here. You go down, it's just like a big dip, and you could go like up the hill. So it was always like go down, try to pedal and make it to the top of the hill. Once we got back there, when we were coming down, I was on it, and the handlebars started to just shake like this. And then I went over, and I tried to catch myself. And I guess when I did that, I dislocated my elbow. So it's here on the left. I don't know if it will – you probably won't be able to tell it from here. But basically what happened was my arm popped out and then twisted around. So basically my elbow was here in the bendy part, right? Anyway,
God almighty.
Yeah, that was a painful summer, but yeah, pretty much. So I got NBA Jam for my birthday that year, and if I'll go to my parents this weekend and find the picture, but it's amazing. I'm sitting in my Ninja Turtles beanbag with my birthday cake, and I had like pain meds in me, and you just see me, I'm like holding my cake, just like staring at the camera, and it's like just in so much pain because that happened like 2 days before my birthday. So,
wow.
But I spent the entire summer playing NBA Jam.
Doped up for your birthday.
Doped up playing NBA Jam. It was great.
I told Nathan, I remember when I played it over his house a few years ago, I just got the urge to like listen to the music for NBA Jam. And as I was listening to it, it brought back this memory of Nathan when I was playing at his house. He would just break into this random dance, which he used to do that. I mean, any kind of random tune, he would just break out and start just doing this thing with his hands. And he was so limber. It was like watching Michael Jackson just break out into some random dance. And I just started laughing to myself just of the music playing and me dun 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 dun, and Nathan's just sitting in his chair doing this number. And
do you remember who maybe won the most when you guys would play against each other, or you guys kind of went back and forth?
We didn't play it enough. I think as adults, it was just he still had all the games, so I would want to play it, and sample.
Yeah, I would just kind of sit there and watch him play against the computer most of the time. I don't think we've ever really gone head to head, but I kind of feel like maybe that's something we
would play now. Like ESPN, like for like PlayStation 2, we'd play ESPN. We'd play as the Cavs, and he would go, "Oh man, LeBron, he's got the ball. Oh gosh, guys." He would do like a Vince McMahon commentary while we would play, as the Cavaliers and stuff like that. But the only thing me and him have played head-to-head together is King Griffey Jr. Major League Baseball, and he kicks my ass every time, but I still love playing it because it is the greatest baseball game of all time.
We actually played that last month on my birthday. He came over to the house and was in the house for the first time since I moved over here. And I was a little inebriated, and of course he's stone cold sober, and he's sitting there. The first pitch I throw to him, he hits a home run. I'm like, oh shit, here we go.
And he has to make sure, and granted, he's beaten me every time, that he wants to take away the fact that I can't throw slow balls or anything outside of the straight fastball.
Those are the rules in those games.
Which allows him to win every
over
game.
The middle. None of this. I'm going to throw them real slow, and then I'm going to throw them all the way over to the screen. No, none of that. Because to me, that just seems really cheap.
And yet he is still beating me every time, but wants to take away my one ace in the hole every single time.
Yeah, but he had the lead at the beginning, but it was funny because I'm just sitting there having a conversation. He's throwing them, I'm hitting him, and he can't catch anything. And I started.
And I threw one slow ball. I was like, "Hey man, we had a deal."
Oh wait. So can I take it that Nathan is somebody that kind of makes rules for when you play certain games? Is that what he likes to do?
I know.
Only this game. Like I'll beat him in Tekken really bad.
Okay.
Or Street Fighter.
All right. Well, anytime we play fighting games too, it's always he just uses the same move. He'll back you in a corner and he'll use the same move. It's like SmackDown 2 all over again. I'm just going to run at you, hit the button, do the roll-up. Eventually, it's going to pin you no matter what you do.
I did that one time to him and Keith both, and they got so mad at me.
I think we've told that story on the podcast before.
Yeah. There's counters. Like I said, you can always counter something. If you know somebody's going to keep doing something, you find a counter. That's what I would always do.
I don't have the patience to do that, Joe.
Well, that's the thing. We played Tekken. I use Hero wrong, whose specialty is kicks. It's combos of kicks. His arms are too short. So when I beat Nathan in Tekken, he gets mad at me because I'm using kicks. If I play him in Street Fighter, he gets mad at me because I'm playing as Balrog or Ryu, using special moves and kicks. Man, it's not fair. Right. We play Halo because I can kick your ass in Halo.
You know what?
Which he does.
You know what?
Tied the lead. Lost the lead.
No, we're gonna play these games. You remember when the new NBA Jam came out? And we're both playing together on the team, and we were still losing all the time. That was fun.
Yeah. That was fun.
Oh Jesus. Too. Well, hey, I'll say. Oh, go ahead. Now, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I know it's real quick because we gotta wrap it up. I can't believe that this episode's almost over now.
It seemed like it just started,
it's 8 o'clock.
It went quick. I mean, my God, we've had about an hour episode, but I feel like it's just been 5 minutes. But it was fun. Yeah. It's always good reliving those memories. Yeah.
Did you play Michael Jordan's Chaos in the Windy City? Was it any good? I never got around to playing.
No. I played Shaq Fu, which drove me.
Yeah, I played that.
Man, that one just floaty, just bad control.
I beat it twice though. I beat that game. I didn't.
Yeah, that's in the time period where it's like you're getting so pissed off at it that you have to conquer it. It's not a giving up. You got to keep playing it.
Well, I mean, I've heard the reputation for that game now, but as a kid, I I didn't find it to be like, oh my God, it was tough, but challenging tough. It wasn't like one and done easy. It was tough, but
yeah, no, I agree.
Beat story mode and I beat tournament mode.
I was like, this is not good.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to play it now, but at the time, I thought it was a great game. It was fun, And the Jordan's game, I wasn't available to play. And then Charles Barkley shut up and jam. I don't remember seeing that to rent either. But
I rented that and thought it was okay, but it's just a ripping off the NBA Jam.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, Shaq Fu. I just thought, and you would think me being obviously biggest Michael Jordan fan back then and just loving him to death that I would love Chaos in the Windy City. But I remember that was a game I think also demoed at the store, and I was like, oh my God, he's just throwing his balls and jumping and grabbing shit out the air. It's like
he's just throwing his balls at people.
That's what Joe said. He's throwing his balls, man.
No, it was, and that's what he's doing. I was like, this is horrible, and he's just jumping over things. It was not fun at all. So I was like, wow. So instead of having Michael Jordan in NBA Jam, we were graced enough to have this amazing Chaos in the Windy City, which was just garbage. But yeah, what a way to end the show for at least me saying something. It was great watching the basketball and everything else, and the great '90s season, and a horrible game for Michael Jordan. How about that?
Well, granted, we could just end it as saying like this. I mean, there's always room to come back. We can always do a discussion on NBA Jam at one point because we just barely touched on it. It was a blast to play.
Sure.
And I think everybody that played video games in the 90s, I'm sure NBA Jam came across them at some point, no matter what you had Sega or Nintendo.
Even if you weren't into sports, the NBA Jam just was, I feel like that's a game that just transcended whether you were into sports or not.
Yeah, and it was simple because it was 2-on-2. It wasn't, you had to manage a team of 5 against another team of 5 and things like that. And it was fun. You could shove people and, you had awesome commentary and stuff. But
double play, jackass. It's baseball rules.
Double play. Yeah. What's that from, Joe?
What?
He's like, I gotta go.
I was rubbing my chest and
I was gonna say, Joe's doing
the right, Joe?
At the new McDonald's.
No, you know what? I think the reason this is gonna be a perfect segue. I think the reason that Joe is rubbing his chest is because he is super excited for what's to come on episode 46 of Beyond Retro. We're gonna be. This episode 46 may end up being the last episode of Beyond Retro for whatever. No, I'm kidding. It's Freddy versus Jason is going to be the topic, and it's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait to dig into this. We got Tyler, who absolutely hates the movie. You got Joe, who loves the movie to pieces. And then you got me,
who hates the movie too,
but rewatched it last night. And you're gonna have to tune in and see what my opinions are.
No, it's great, man. I mean, hell, if you still hate that movie, that's fantastic. I would never expect anybody to watch and say, "Hey, I like it now." Or
maybe my opinion on the movie has changed.
I don't think it has, but I definitely love it.
But you're gonna have to tune in for the next episodes.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll see if he changed. I doubt it, but you never know. But yeah, you'll hear me ranting and raving why I loved it. You'll hear Tyler why he hated it. And I guess, we'll find out what Nathan said. But that'll be this Sunday for Beyond Retro. Be fun.
Yeah.
And tell everybody what to do, Nathan. What to click, the ding, the bang, the boom, the bang.
Well, I want to thank JSP for joining us in the chat. And we did have a few other people watching us, so thank you for tuning in. I know that it's a different day from we're actually kind of in our old time slot right now.
Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah, because we used to do these Friday at 6:30. But thanks.
Oh, wait, real quick, JSP, you spelled Freddy wrong, but I just want to say that. Go ahead, Nathan. You continue.
Wow. Now he's not going to tune in. He's like,
that's it, JSP. He disrespected that season when I was talking about. It's like that's it. That JSP is on the outside thing. No, love you, JSP. You still spelled it wrong.
Thanks for everyone that tuned in today on our a different day that we did this. If you're new and you're watching us now, make sure you hit subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notified. Check the links down below. I don't think I put them down there yet, but we'll have the Podbean link. So if you want to check out the audio, take us on the road. Look for us on iTunes under Pop Culture Network. Like the Facebook page. Probably put a link to Joe's shirts too. So go ahead and buy a shirt. That way I
don't have to rub my chest all the time.
Yeah. Now it's kind of basketball was the movie that was from, Joe. Now it's reminding me. It's like, you remember that time that you got the crabs?
Yeah, it's like I found a use for that cream. It feels so good against my skin. Remember that night we spent at the tattoo parlor in Chicago? Come on, baby. Yeah,
that needs to be an episode at some point.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah. At least that's something we know. Joe is South Park really. Joe has seen it and likes it. So yes, we will have to do one based on basketball.
All right, guys. We'll see you Sunday.
See you Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. It's fantastic.